Kia ora noa, I'm Rachel. Welcome back to my channel where I'm talking about well-being and activism. I've done quite a few videos, well, a few. I've only done a few. I'm only just starting out, but the videos that I've done so far have been, many of them have been quite heavy, I guess, like some sort of difficult things maybe about our movements and being in our movements. And so I just wanted to also bring it back to some simple things about just taking care of ourselves, just the very basic things of looking after ourselves. So I'm going to start today talking about sleep. Hands up who has trouble with sleep. Man, I so do. I have had sleep as a struggle since I was a little kid. I don't know exactly when it started, but I remember being about 9 and definitely being aware of struggling with sleep. So it's interesting doing this channel because it makes me think about the way that in many ways well-being has felt like a second job to me for a long time, at least since I was a teenager anyway. And I wonder how many people can relate to that. I mean, you know, especially anyone who's working for NGOs and stuff where well-being and self-care and stuff is talked about as something that you need to be doing as part of your ability to stay in the work. How much well-being can feel like the second job. You know, I think that I have over time. I'm 40 now, so since I was 16, you know, I've been reading about sleep. I've been, you know, every now and then when I'm really struggling with sleep, I'll get out books from the library, or, you know, more recently it'll be sort of like scrolling on Pinterest or whatever, looking for new tips, new ways to do it, kind of looking for the magic bullet or looking for the instruction manual to do it perfectly so that sleep isn't a problem for me anymore. And also going through lots of periods where I struggle with sleep and beating myself up for not having nailed this yet, you know, not like coming into my adulthood and not having this part of my life sorted. And so I wanted to make, I feel like I've got lots of ideas to share about sleep. I've experienced so many frustrations over the years. I've been like, oh God, I slept really badly last night, I feel like garbage. And people have been like, oh, why don't you just have a glass of wine at night, sort of thing. Just really, really sort of dismissive, simple solutions. And I think if you struggle with sleep, you get really sick of people telling you how you should sleep better because you're thinking about it, right? Like you're working on it actively. And so you don't necessarily want to be told by other people. And so I didn't want to do kind of, I feel like I've got lots of ideas to share is what I'm saying about sleep, but I also didn't want to do a here's 7 things that will make you sleep better kind of video because I feel like there's lots of that sort of information out there. I wanted to do more of a reflective sort of take on sleep, like here is how it is, here is how it feels, and here's some of the stuff that I've learned along the way kind of approach to it. And I also thought that I would break it down into parts rather than trying to do it in one great big here's everything about sleep kind of video. And I'll talk a little bit more about the reason for that as I go on. So today, the first thing I wanted to say about sleep, one of the big things that I've learned is that there isn't that magic bullet, you know. I feel like sleep isn't something that I feel like I've got a lot better at it. Like I say, I've learned a lot of things and I've got a lot better at it. But reading things in books can often feel like, you know, you read in books and like, oh yeah, I know that now, but actually applying it is the thing, like, and we don't always apply things consistently. And that's one of the things that I've learned over the years, that sleep is going to be a thing that sometimes is a problem. And to just stop being so hard on myself when I fall back into sleep being a problem. Stop being so angry at myself for not having it sorted, and to just learn some real acceptance with it, and to lean into the reality of it a little bit. And the way I've started to think about it is that it's like, you know, for anyone who's done yoga or meditation, there's this idea that's often talked about, you know, you're trying to concentrate and trying to focus on your breath, but your mind wanders and you go all over the place. You might get into stressful thoughts or negative thoughts or whatever. And the practice is just to keep coming back to the breath. It's not to be perfect at being in the breath the whole time. It's to keep coming back to the breath. And I've started to think about sleep in the same way, that it's just about coming back to sleep. So what I mean by that is, if all kinds of things can throw my sleep out, right? It might be something like I'm on holiday, so I'm sleeping in a strange environment, or I'm traveling a lot for work, or, you know, I just want to go to, not that this happens anymore now that I've got a kid at the moment, but, you know, I want to go to a gig or something and stay up late and drink, and, you know, or I'm really stressed about something, or, you know, I've talked a little bit before in these videos about overthinking, so that can definitely do it. Yeah, or really inspired, actually, like when I first started thinking about doing this YouTube channel, I had 3 days of just like download of information where I wasn't sleeping at night because my brain was just like planning all these things that I could talk about on YouTube, sort of thing. So yeah, being in creative flow can do it. What else? Yeah, sometimes there's just like a little rebellious teenager in me that's like, I don't want to be good and make sure I sleep all the time. You know, I want to stay up late and watch Netflix, or I want to stay up and play computer games, you know. And so there's probably other things too. Oh yeah, and now I've got a 2-year-old, so children can definitely mess with your sleep, and I think parents have a whole different relationship with sleep, and maybe I'll talk about that another time. But so lots of things can throw my sleep off, right? And you know, another frustrating thing that people will say to you, like so many times, say if I've been traveling for work, you know, had a really, really long day and not good sleep and I'm exhausted and stuff, and your colleague will be like, oh, well, you'll sleep really well tonight. No, that's unfortunately not how it works for me, and I wonder how many other people can relate to this, where if I've had a bad night's sleep, then I get overtired and then I can't sleep. So it'll be at least 3 nights of bad sleep. And these days, when I say about coming back to sleep, coming back to a focus on sleep, and like, okay, sleep's out of whack, I need to work on that. I usually have to accept that it's going to be at least a week of caring for my sleep before my sleep will be healthy and good and feel restful and stuff like that again. And that's what I'm talking about, just the acceptance of that fact that so often in life we get busy, we forget to look after ourselves, and we need to just sometimes accept that and remember to come back to caring for ourselves. And yeah, one of the, like, I often find that it all goes together. Like, say if I'm really stressed at work or whatever, or, you know, there's too much on, or family stuff or friendship stuff or whatever is thrown me off. You know, kind of everything goes out of whack at the same time, eh? Like, if I'm sleeping badly, then I'm also eating badly because I just want high energy, you know, no nutrient kind of food to just keep me through the day, and you know, I'm not doing a lot of movement because I'm just exhausted and I just want to, you know, slump somewhere. And so, you know, in many ways you can, say if you're looking at those 3 kind of pillars of well-being, sleep, movement, and food, depending on, I don't know, what resonates with you, you might pick another one. Like, you might pick food as the key thing that is the most important to you to come back to. For me, it's sleep. For me, it's always felt like it's sleep. If I can concentrate on my sleep, I sort of, you know, I'll be like, okay, sleep first, sort out sleep first, and then those other things will fall into place. Otherwise, I end up beating myself up that I'm not doing any of those well, you know. And but for you, it might be food, for example, and they all affect each other, of course, because if you're eating foods that aren't nourishing your body in the right kinds of ways, that can make sleep harder. If you're not exercising, that can make sleep harder. But I've found that if I try to fix those other two things at the same time or before fixing sleep, it just doesn't happen anyway because I'm too knackered. So yeah, just for me, it's about coming back to sleep. And so yeah, I guess that's just the first place that I wanted to start today. I think I'll do a little bit of a sort of a series on sleep, not bang 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 one after the other. I thought what I'd do is every now and then post a video about sleep so that I'm reminding you, the audience, and myself to come back to sleep, to remember how are you sleeping, like what's your sleep like at the moment. Here's a few other things you could think about if you're struggling with sleep. So I think that's what I'm going to do with talking about sleep. And just like I say, this first one today is just that idea of accepting that sleep is an issue, accepting that you need to look after it sometimes, and that searching for it. I mean, it's so empowering and useful to gain information, but searching for the magic bullet often doesn't do it. It's often about taking the information that you already know and just remembering to be gentle with yourself again and apply it. I think I'm just going to leave it there, keep this one short and sweet, and this is just a reminder to the audience, and to put the question out there: how is sleep for you? How are you taking care of your sleep? Are you taking care of your sleep? And to start some conversations just about how it is and how we might take care of ourselves. And I'll come back to this again with other ideas about sleep. But I think just this thing of accepting that we need to look after our sleep sometimes if we struggle with it goes a long way. So that's me for today. Ka kite anō, noho ora mai.